Have you ever wondered what would happen if a city, a massive, bustling metropolis, just vanished into thin air? It sounds like the plot of a sci-fi movie, but let's entertain this wild thought experiment. What if, one day, Tokyo simply disappeared? Not just a disaster, but a complete physical and functional erasure. What would the world look like the next day? Let's dive into this mind-bending scenario. First, let's talk about the immediate aftermath in Japan. The word catastrophe wouldn't even begin to cover it. Tokyo isn't just a city, it's the heart, brain, and soul of Japan. Imagine the chaos. All central government functions, the national diet, the prime minister's residence, all the ministries, gone. The nation would be headless, a ship without a captain in the middle of a superstorm. Who would be in charge? How would decisions be made? It would be pure political paralysis. Then the economic bomb would detonate. The Tokyo Stock Exchange, the third largest in the world, would cease to exist. The Nikkei index would not just crash, it would be wiped from existence. The yen's value would plummet into a freefall as global confidence in Japan's economy evaporates overnight. Think about it. Tokyo accounts for roughly 20% of Japan's entire GDP. It's home to the headquarters of global giants like Toyota, Sony, and Mitsubishi. With their leadership and core operations gone, supply chains across the entire country would shatter. The financial system would be in ruins. Japan, as we know it, would face an economic apocalypse. But the most devastating impact would be the human one. The Greater Tokyo area is home to over 37 million people. That's more than the entire population of Canada. Their sudden disappearance would represent an unimaginable loss of life. Families across Japan would lose loved ones. The nation's morale would be crushed, replaced by collective trauma that would haunt generations. The social fabric would be torn apart. Other major cities like Osaka and Nagoya would be thrust into the spotlight, expected to pick up the pieces. But how could they? They lack the infrastructure, the resources, and the sheer scale to suddenly replace Tokyo. It would be like asking a town to suddenly function as a global capital. The strain would be immense, and the recovery process would be slow and painful. And what about Japan's identity? Tokyo is a global cultural powerhouse. It's the birthplace of trends in fashion, technology, and cuisine. From the electric streets of Akihabara, the epicenter of anime and manga culture, to the high-fashion district of Ginza, Tokyo dictates a huge part of what the world sees as cool Japan. Its disappearance would be a cultural lobotomy. Japan's soft power, its ability to influence the world through its culture, would be severely diminished. It's a wound that would bleed out for decades, changing how the world perceives Japan and how Japan perceives itself. Now, let's zoom out and look at the global picture, because the shockwaves wouldn't stop at Japan's borders. The world economy would be rocked to its core. Japan is the world's fourth largest economy. The sudden loss of its economic engine would trigger a global financial crisis, especially in Asia, where economies are deeply intertwined. Stock markets from New York to London to Shanghai would reel from the shock. Remember those global corporations like Toyota and Sony? Their disappearance would send ripples through every industry they touch. Think about the automotive sector or the semiconductor market. Japan is a critical link in the global supply chain. Its collapse would mean massive shortages of everything from car parts to the chips in your smartphone. The interconnectedness of our modern world means Japan's catastrophe would quickly become everyone's problem. The geopolitical landscape would be redrawn almost instantly. For decades, Japan has been a cornerstone of stability and a key U.S. ally in the Asia-Pacific region. A destabilized, weakened Japan would create a massive power vacuum. How would this shift the delicate balance of power with neighboring countries? The security dynamic in East Asia would be fundamentally altered. The United States and its allies would be forced to scramble, rethinking their entire strategic posture in the region. Japan's voice in international forums like the G7 and the United Nations would fall silent, at least temporarily, leaving a void that other powers would rush to fill. The world would become a much more unpredictable and potentially volatile place. Culturally, the world would also feel the loss. Tokyo is more than just an economic hub. It's a beacon for tourists, students, artists, and dreamers from every corner of the globe. Millions of people travel there every year to experience its unique blend of ancient tradition and futuristic innovation. Countless international students go there to learn. Its disappearance would sever these vital connections. The global creative industries would suffer immensely. Think of the impact on the anime and video game industries, which have a dedicated worldwide following. The wellspring of creativity that is Tokyo would run dry, leaving a noticeable hole in global entertainment and art. So, what does the long-term future look like in this hypothetical world? For Japan, the path to recovery would be long and arduous, spanning generations. Cities like Osaka or maybe Yokohama might eventually rise to become new centers of power, but the cost, both financially and emotionally, would be staggering. The nation would have to rebuild not just its infrastructure, but its very identity. The already present challenges of a declining population and a shrinking economy would likely accelerate, pushing Japan into a prolonged period of struggle. It would be a profoundly different country from the one we know today. For the rest of the world, Japan's diminished role would reshape the global order. We might see the rise of other economic powers in Asia looking to fill the void. The United States would likely have to dedicate significant resources to help stabilize its key ally, diverting attention and funds from other global priorities. The world would have to adapt to a new economic and security landscape, one without the steadying influence of a strong and stable Japan. In conclusion, the sudden disappearance of Tokyo would be an event of truly world-altering proportions. For Japan, it would be an existential crisis, striking at its political, economic, social, and cultural core. Globally, the event would trigger a domino effect of economic turmoil, geopolitical instability, and cultural loss that would be felt for decades to come. It's a sobering reminder of how interconnected our world is, and how the fate of one great city can be tied to the fate of us all. Thank you so much for watching. This was a heavy topic, but I hope it gave you some food for thought. If you found this interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe for more what-if scenarios and deep dives. Let me know in the comments what you think the biggest impact would be. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next video.